hearing a fictitious story years ago, and it's just kind of stuck with me. The story was that Billy Graham was going down the road one day, and had a chauffeur that was driving him. They pulled over to take a break, and Billy Graham told his chauffeur, he said, you know, I've had a chauffeur for so long now. He said, I've almost forgotten how to drive. And he said, I really would like to kind of try my hand at driving again. He said, so if you don't mind, he said, if you just sit in the back seat, he said, and let me drive for a little bit. So Billy Graham got behind the wheel. He's driving down the road, really enjoying himself, and forgot to check his speedometer. And next thing you know, he's being pulled over by a state trooper for going too fast. And anyway, so the state trooper deals with the situation, and then he goes back to his car and he calls for his supervisor. He says, I need to meet with you immediately. And so anyway, the supervisor met with him. The supervisor said, well, what's the big thing that you needed to meet with me? He said, man, he said, I just stopped a car that had God in it. And the supervisor said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah. He said, I know the car I just stopped had God in it. He said, well, how do you know that? He said, well, Billy Graham was the chauffeur. Who else could have been in the back seat? Anyway, well, my name is Richard Coleman, and I'm the pastor at Shepherd Church of the Nazarene in Lexington, South Carolina. And it's great to spend just a few moments with you today. Been looking at the story of Joseph. I enjoy reading about Joseph and all the things that happened in his life, where he was sold into slavery, and then he was falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, and then he was thrown into prison. So now he's been in prison, and he is excelling in prison. He has the right attitude. Things are going well. He's working hard. To me, I think Joseph was just an amazing man. Well, the king, for whatever reason, or not the king, the Pharaoh of Egypt, he must have been kind of a finicky guy, I don't know, but he got upset with his baker, and he got upset with his cupbearer, and he threw both of them in prison. And so they were in prison. Joseph was in charge of watching after them and seeing to their needs and things like that. So these were two important people. They were a part of the king's staff. Well, each of them had a dream, and they were perplexed. They came to Joseph and they said, we've had dreams, and we just don't know what they mean. And Joseph told them, he said, the God that I serve, he is the master of dreams. He knows all about dreams, and they can only be interpreted by God. And God gave Joseph the ability to interpret those dreams. I look at that and I realize that Joseph became a witness in their life. We don't know anything about the religious feelings of these men. I would think they probably didn't serve God, but Joseph was able to tell them that the God that he served was able to do mighty things. You know, I think about that and how oftentimes we miss opportunities where we could actually talk to somebody, that we could actually be that little bit of light that may come into their life. We're not going to necessarily give them the impression that that God is sitting in the back seat and that we're the chauffeur, but at the same time, just a little bit of light that we might be able to shine on their path might make a big difference one day. It might be that we cast a seed, somebody comes along later and pours a little water on it, and then later something could come of it. God can work things out in ways that we cannot imagine. As a matter of fact, in this particular story, the cupbearer, 2 years later, the cupbearer is now back working for the king, and the king has a dream, and he says, wait a minute, I know somebody that can interpret dreams. And because of those circumstances, all of that time later, Joseph is again elevated into a higher position. You see, God's plan is something that most of the time we don't see ahead of time, and we don't necessarily understand it. But God just wants us to be there, be willing, and do whatever it is that we need to do as we go along. Usually the things that we do are small, just small little things that we think will never make a difference. But God can use everything that we do. And our responsibility is simply to obey God and do the things that He puts there for us. So I have to ask you today, that little song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm going to let it shine," are we truly letting that light shine for God? And I hope that you'll be able to do that. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you. May you truly let your light shine for God this week. Thanks for taking the time and viewing today.